Larry from Tampa made one mistake with his retirement money. He put $50,000 into the most popular ETF on the internet. Everyone told him it was the smart move. 10 years later, Larry checked his account. The balance looked great, but his monthly dividend income from that fund was $41. Not $400, not $4,000, $41 a month, less than a cell phone bill. By the end of this video, you will know exactly which ETFs can actually pay you a monthly income, and which ones just give you a bigger number on a screen that never reaches your bank account. You will also learn the one thing that changes how much of that income you actually keep. It has nothing to do with the stock market. It has everything to do with which account you hold your shares in. Quick note, I am not a financial advisor or government employee. Everything here is for educational purposes only. For your specific situation, always check with a qualified professional. Here is what I call the income test. To replace a paycheck, an ETF has to do three things. 1, it has to pay a dividend. 2, that dividend has to grow every single year. 3, it needs a long streak of increases. Not 2 years, not 5, but a decade or more of unbroken raises. Most ETFs fail on the very first question. So now you know what the test looks like, but here is the part that surprises most people. The biggest names in investing do not even come close. The growth giants that can't pay your bills. Let us start with the fund everyone recommends first, QQQ, the NASDAQ 100, one of the most traded ETFs in the world. It has produced extraordinary returns over the last decade, but QQQ yields 0.42%. On $50,000, that pays you $210 a year, $17 a month. That doesn't cover a phone bill. And there's no history of that dividend growing. The income in year 1 is the same as year 20. What about VGT, Vanguard's technology ETF? Same space, different provider. The yield is 0.36%. That's $180 a year, $15 a month. Amazing for growth, useless for income. Now here's where it gets interesting. VOO and VTI, Vanguard's S&P 500 and total stock market funds. These are the two funds every beginner hears about, and they're genuinely good funds. VOO yields about 1.1% with a 6% dividend growth rate. On $50,000, that's roughly $550 a year. The engine is there, but the starting yield is too low for income replacement. Think about that for a second. The 4 most popular ETFs in America, and not one of them can do this job. They build wealth, they don't pay it back. A bigger balance that doesn't send you a check every quarter is just a number on a screen. So now you know the growth giants fail the income test. But there's a group of ETFs built specifically to pay you growing dividends, and that's where the real competition begins. The dividend contenders go head-to-head. 3 ETFs were designed for this exact job: DGRO from iShares, VIG from Vanguard, HDV also from iShares, and then there's SCHD from Schwab. Let's put them side by side. HDV yields 3.6%, the highest starting income in the group. On $50,000, that's $1,800 in year 1. But its dividend growth rate is only 4 to 5%. It pays more today and falls behind over time. VIG yields about 1.6% with a 6.9% growth rate and 13 consecutive years of increases. Good engine, but on $50,000, that's only $800 in year 1. You need a lot of patience. DGRO yields 2.1% with a 9% dividend growth rate and 12 consecutive years of increases. Solid across the board, $1,050 in year 1 from $50,000. Now SCHD, 3.3% yield, a 10.5% 10-year dividend growth rate, 14 consecutive years of increases, an expense ratio of just 0.06%, $6 a year on $10,000 invested. On $50,000, SCHD pays you $1,650 in year 1, and that number is projected to grow faster than any of the others. Dividend ETF Scorecard, head-to-head comparison. Here's a number that puts it in perspective. If you invested $50,000 in HDV and $50,000 in SCHD on the same day, HDV pays you more in year 1. But by year 15, SCHD's faster growth rate overtakes HDV, and the gap gets wider every single year after that. SCHD wins the scorecard: highest yield among the growth funds, fastest dividend growth, longest streak. But winning on a scorecard and winning in your bank account are two different things, because there's a 30-year projection floating around the internet that needs a serious reality check. $50,000 in SCHD, the honest math. You may have seen a video claiming $50,000 in SCHD becomes $2 million and pays over $8,000 a month. That projection uses a 10% dividend growth rate running for 30 years straight. Sounds incredible. But here is the problem. SCHD's 3-year dividend growth rate has already slowed to 7.1%. The 2025 annual increase was 5.35%. The 10-year number is real, but it is slowing down as the base gets larger. That is how math works. The bigger the number, the harder it is to grow it by 10% every year. Here's the myth. SCHD's dividend grows 10% forever. Here's the truth. The growth rate is decelerating. Planning around 6 to 7% is what smart retirees do. 10% is a hope. 7% is a plan. So let me show you 3 scenarios. All start with $50,000. All use DRIP. That means every dividend payment automatically buys more shares of SCHD instead of landing as cash. In the optimistic scenario at 10% growth, your $50,000 reaches $1.46 million and pays $4,075 a month by year 30. In the realistic scenario at 7% growth, it reaches $830,000 and pays $2,320 a month. In the conservative scenario at 5% growth, it reaches $485,000 and pays $1,350 a month. Now here's the part most videos skip. $2,320 a month in 30 years does not buy what $2,320 buys today. At 3% inflation, that's worth about $960 in today's money. Still meaningful, but not a paycheck replacement on its own. To actually replace a median full-time take-home income of $54,000 a year from SCHD dividends alone right now, you would need about $1.5 million invested, not $50,000. $50,000 is a powerful starter position. It is not a retirement plan by itself. So now you know the real numbers. But even those numbers are not what lands in your bank account, because which account you hold SCHD in determines whether you keep every dividend dollar or lose almost half of it. The tax trap that eats your dividends. Here's what no other video tells you about SCHD. The dividends are qualified. That's a tax term that means they get special lower tax rates. In 2026, a married couple filing jointly can earn up to $98,900 in taxable income and pay 0% federal tax on every single SCHD dividend. 0. That's the dividend investor's secret weapon, but most people throw it away without knowing it. Put SCHD inside a traditional IRA and you lose that 0% rate completely. Every dollar that comes out of a traditional IRA gets taxed as ordinary income, up to 37%. You traded a 0% rate for one that could be 10 times higher. And it gets worse. Even if you reinvest every dividend and never touch the cash, those dividends still count toward your Medicare premiums. Cross $109,000 in income as a single filer, and your Medicare Part B premium jumps nearly $100 a month. They call these IRMA surcharges, and they hit retirees who do not see them coming. Then there's the Social Security tax torpedo. Every extra dollar of dividend income can cause up to 85 cents of your Social Security to become taxable. A household in the 12% bracket can face an effective rate above 40% in that zone. Before I show you the smartest way to hold SCHD, drop a comment right now. Are you holding your dividend ETFs in a Roth, a traditional IRA, or a taxable brokerage account?
I read every single comment and I'll tell you if your setup makes sense. A Roth IRA is the best home for SCHD. Zero tax on dividends, zero tax on growth, no required minimum distributions in your lifetime. If you can't use a Roth, a taxable brokerage account is the next best choice because you keep the qualified dividend rate and your heirs get a step up in basis when they inherit. The traditional IRA is the worst home for SCHD. It converts a tax-advantaged dividend into fully taxable ordinary income. Hold your bonds and REITs there instead. So now you know where to hold it. Let me put this whole plan together. What smart retirees actually do with SCHD? SCHD is the best dividend growth ETF available for retirement income. It wins on yield, growth rate, streak, and cost. But it's a tool, not a plan. Smart retirees use it as one piece of a bigger picture. They pair SCHD with a broad market fund like VOO for long-term growth. They add a bond allocation for stability in bad years. They hold SCHD in the right account, a Roth if they can, a taxable brokerage if they cannot, and they let the dividend snowball build while Social Security covers the base. Remember Larry from Tampa? He put $50,000 into a growth fund and earned $41 in dividends a month. His neighbor Gloria did something different. She put the same $50,000 into SCHD inside a Roth IRA. She turned on DRIP. She didn't touch it for 15 years. By the time Gloria turned 70, her position had grown to over $200,000. Her dividends were paying over $600 a month completely tax-free. Combined with her Social Security, she covered every bill without selling a single share. She never worried about IRMA surcharges. She never triggered the tax torpedo. She kept every dollar her dividends paid. It's not what your dividends pay. It's what you keep after taxes that replaces your paycheck. If someone you know is building retirement income and trying to pick between ETFs, share this video with them right now. It could save them thousands in taxes they didn't know they were paying. Drop a comment below. What's the first ETF you ever bought for retirement? I want to hear your story. If you want to stay ahead of the changes that affect your retirement income, subscribe to Golden Goals. I cover everything that protects your paycheck. And in the next video, I'm breaking down the exact Roth conversion strategy that keeps your SCHD dividends in the 0% tax bracket year after year without triggering IRMA. You do not want to miss that one.